Happy Halloween. Can you hear me? It's a little difficult to tell if you guys can hear me when I have the mask on. Happy Halloween, kind of, everybody. I was gonna do this for the JMO show that came out a couple days ago, but I completely forgot. So today we've got the pumpkin head that I wore to the Red Wings Halloween game last year. That would have been on the 30th or 29th of last year. I wore this. People got a kick out of it, so I figured I'd show it off today. I don't know if I can really find a place to put it that you guys would see it for the rest of the episode. So maybe I'll put it on near the end or something like that. But for now, we'll keep it off. Welcome everybody to another episode of NHL Weekly. This is week 4. We've been here for a full month now. Week 4, November 5th, 2022. We are currently recording it as the Red Wings and Islanders are playing their matinee game at 1 p.m. Usually, NHL hockey games on a Saturday don't start until 2, so I was hoping that I'd be able to get it out before the Red Wings game started today, but alas, I could not. Even with that said, I still missed a couple things on the ranking stuff. Some of that being not as crucial, at least in my opinion, crucial stuff that everybody is really gonna miss. The only thing that I missed this week is the plus or minus for the rankings. Do this. I just realized that that the stuffed animal shelf has been in view this whole time. That's really funny. But no, so the rankings are still going to be here, but we do not have where people moved up or down in the rankings this week. I will hopefully have it for next week. I know there's some people that do enjoy it, but to start off this week, let's kick it over to the news. The only reason I've kept the news section in is because of the pretty little graphic that we've got. Again, no real news. I will kick it over to the hockey guy if you guys want any real meaty news information stuff going on in the NHL currently. News for this channel, as I usually will do during this time, we've got a JMO show coming out for the first 10 games of every team for the 2022-2023 season, as well as going back to as soon as Colorado plays their 10th game, and I believe they have. Colorado has played it, so in the next couple days, look out for that. It's going to be looking at the first 10 games of every defending Stanley Cup champion. Obviously, Colorado won in 2021-2022, so keep a lookout for that. For those two videos, hopefully coming out in the next week. It will not be tomorrow, as I am working tomorrow. I do have another job other than this, believe it or not. But if we go to our second screen and we take a look at the week that was, hopefully everybody can kind of see that there. I could probably zoom in and do maybe half and half. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. If we look at the last week or so, as you can see, the little bars here is designating a week. We have most of our teams officially going over the 10 game mark, but we do have Calgary and St. Louis still without their 10th game, so that is not coming out yet. That 10th game for every team for the 2022-2023 season. Video will not come out until each team has played at least 10 games. That is incorrect. So taking a quick gander at the schedule of the last week, we will move over to this last week. If we zoom down here to week 4, I am off my game today. What was 28th? So this would have been October 29th through November 4th. And I had it in caps. Okay. So if we take a look, we've got some teams that had a pretty rough week. We've got Calgary, Columbus, Ottawa, and St. Louis. 4 teams in the last week with 0 points. And then at the top is Carolina with 8 points. 4 games, no losses. Other teams without a loss, the Boston Bruins, New Jersey, and the Islanders. Tampa Bay and Winnipeg, no losses in regulation. And then we do have a lot of teams that did not get a single win this last week, which is really gonna put you down in the standings for the full month. Or for the full year. Spending an entire week with no wins is really gonna make it rough for you to try to climb back. But we do have a lot of teams in here with 6 points, 5 points apiece. My nose is running. I'm still somehow sick. It's been 3 Saturdays. If we go to each division. Sorry for that. For each division, we've got Boston, Buffalo, and Tampa at the top of the Atlantic. 20 points, 14 points, and 13 points. 13 points as well with Tampa is Florida, Detroit, and Toronto with 12 apiece. Montreal with 11, and Ottawa with 8 points. Carolina getting a big boost with those 8 points from this last week. Carolina 17 points, New Jersey with 16, and New York with 14. The other New York team, the Rangers, with 14 as well, with 12 games played though. Philadelphia and Washington, 12 points apiece. Washington playing 12 games, Philadelphia playing 10, and then Pittsburgh with 10, Columbus with 6. Dallas, top of the Central with 15, Winnipeg 13, and Chicago with 12. Colorado and Minnesota with 11 points apiece. Nashville with 9, Arizona and St. Louis rounding out the Central with 7 and 6 points respectively. Vegas 20 points. Edmonton 14, Seattle 14, LA 13, Calgary 10, Vancouver and San Jose with 8, and Anaheim with 7. So if we take if we take those division standings, we mush them together into our conferences, we will see the wild card standings currently: Boston, Buffalo, Tampa Bay at the top of the Atlantic, Carolina, New Jersey, and New York at the top, Islanders at the top of the Metro. With the wild card in the East, it is New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers with 14 and 13 points, and then a bunch of teams with 12 points. Philadelphia, Detroit, Toronto, and Washington with 12 points apiece. Montreal with 11. That should say Pittsburgh, not Putt. Pittsburgh with 10. Ottawa with 8. And Columbus with 6. And then moving over to the West in the Central and Pacific divisions, it's Dallas, Winnipeg, Chicago, Vegas, Edmonton, and Seattle. And then we've got the Kings in Colorado. In the wildcard spots, Minnesota with 11 points, Calgary with 10, Nashville with 9, Vancouver and San Jose, Arizona, Anaheim, and then St. Louis at the bottom there. Keep in mind that St. Louis does have a lot of games behind some of these other teams, so there's every possibility that they could bounce back But if we look at their last week, at the very least, they like I said a couple weeks ago when we talked about games played. It's not a guarantee that anybody with less games played is going to end up getting those points. As St. Louis being the biggest example of that. I think they won their first 3 games and have lost every game since then. So really not great after a really good start for St. Louis. They had a lot of games to make up. They made up most of those games and lost every single one of them. So take the entire league, you mush them together. We've got Boston and Vegas with 20 points apiece right at the top there. Carolina with 17, New Jersey and Dallas rounding out the top 5. And then if we look at the bottom there, with less than 10 points apiece, it's Nashville, Ottawa, Vancouver, San Jose, Arizona, Anaheim, St. Louis, and Columbus. One thing that once we have that I was going to show you guys last week is we've got our 10-game spread here that will be getting filled out as soon as Calgary and St. Louis play those games, and we'll be showing you guys that, as well as hopefully starting another stat on here that is previous 10 game stats for every team at the end of the week, but I don't want it to be too similar to what we've already got going. I don't want to have to kind of basically repeat the same stat over and over again. It might just be that for instance, if we look at this last week, Boston only played 2 games with 2 wins, but if you look at their last 10 games, they've only lost 1 game. If you look at their last 11 games, they've only lost 1 game as well. So, just very, very impressive for them. If we look down at Vegas, they also they have 2 losses. Vegas has 2 losses in games 6 and 4, while the Bruins lost game 4 as well. So, keeping the ball rolling. Yep, this is it. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that we can see the full thing, hopefully. But, come on, there we go. Okay, at the top of goals is Connor McDavid for the holy crap. For this week, not only this week, but for up until yesterday, in the current full season, we have Connor McDavid at the top of the league with 12 goals, Bo Horvat and Erik Karlsson, a defenseman, by the way, with 10 points, with 10 goals, Victor Olofsson with 9, and then a couple people with 8, Kaprizov, Pasternak, Svechnikov, and Vilardi. And then a bunch of people with 7, and then a bunch of people with 6. One of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that everybody could see these is just in case they wanted to see if their favorite player is on the list. In assists, we've got Leon Draisaitl with 16, Nathan MacKinnon with 13. We've got Jesper Bratt and Connor McDavid with 12, and then a couple people with 11, Barzal, Kucherov, Panarin, Pasternak, and Matthew Tkachuk. A couple weeks ago, Matthew and Brady Tkachuk were right next to each other. Matthew is pulling ahead of his brother just a little bit between 23rd and 9th. I believe Brady was Brady on goals? Let's see. Nope. So Matthew pulling away just a little bit from his brother. Matthew not on the goals list either. So they're both pretty good at being assist players, I guess. Put those two together, the goals and the assists, you get your points. And Edmonton taking the first 2 spots with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. 11 games played apiece with 25 and 22 for McDavid and Draisaitl. Pretty dang impressive. Pasternak and Erik Karlsson. Again, I will preface Erik Karlsson, a defenseman, in the top 5, the top 4. 4 points in the last week, 18 points for him. We've got Bratt and Nietzsche with 17, a couple people with 16, 15, 14, and then going into the 13. And then again, Matthew Tkachuk in the top 10 for points, Brady in the top 17. If we go over to our goalies for this year so far, we got Jake Ottinger at the top of the list for goals against average, 1.4 goals against average, which is really good. Adin Hill and Logan Thompson, both from Vegas, in the top 3. And then we've got Sorokin, Vanacek, Hart, Skinner, Ville Husso with the Detroit Red Wings, Linus Ullmark, and Craig Anderson. A lot of people saying Sorokin was in the contention for the best goalie of the year this year. A lot of people getting proven right so far. We'll see how the rest of the year goes for him. But as far as saves percentage goes, we've got Jake Ottinger, Stuart Skinner, Carter Hart, Adin Hill, and Ilya Sorokin rounding out the top 5 with a above 9.36. Or .936, I should say. Sorry about that. And then Sam Montembeault, one of the best last names in the whole league. They're in rounding out the top 10 for saves percentage. Now, if we go over to our team stats for the season so far, points for Buffalo and Boston are tied with 123 points for apiece, 121 for Edmonton, 117 for LA, and 115 for Seattle to round out the top 5. At the bottom, the bottom five, there we go. We've got St. Louis with 57, Philadelphia and Calgary with 73, Montreal with 76, and Arizona with 79. Also with 76, sorry, and then Winnipeg and Columbus have 79. Not great there at the bottom of the standings for those 5. And if we look at who's in the bottom 5 for both, I don't believe we have anybody in the bottom 5 for both, which is interesting. But goals against, or points against, I should say, Vegas, New York Islanders, Dallas, Winnipeg, and Boston, rounding out the top 5 with with below 77. Philadelphia tied with Boston for 77 points. Does this seem like a lot faster than normal? Am I missing things that I don't usually talk about that I'm missing here? Because let's go back to this one because we're only 19 minutes in, and I'm pretty much already set for this week, giving you guys the rundown in the week that was week 4 of the NHL 2022-23 season here on November 5th. I'm just doing a quick double check, make sure that I didn't miss anything, because that seemed pretty fast. Am I getting better at this? Is that what's happening? Don't think so. Well, I think we're gonna cut it short today. 10 minutes plus short, I guess, today, and yeah, that's the week that was. Boston, with only two games this week, still trucking along, and Vegas slowly keeping up with them, and then Carolina creeping up on them, 8 points in this last week. Vegas with 6. bunch of other people with 6. Boston only with the 4 points, but obviously, again, that's because they only played 2 games and were undefeated in those 2 games. So, what do you guys think of this week in hockey? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe, obviously, on everything that is NHL Weekly. We've got JMO shows coming out, hopefully 2 in the next week, and I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I hope you all have a great week and had a great week, and I will see you again very soon.